What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can retain more students for your gym. So I'm going to be going over simple strategies to help you reduce your churn and improve cash flow into your gym, as there's no point gaining students for them to fall off next week, right? So I'm going to show you simple strategies that I use for my clients, help them retain clients for longer, thus adding to their multi-recurring revenue. So the first point we're going to be talking about is we're going to be needing to pinpoint the problem, right? So I'm going to teach you how you can identify the problem, and then we'll learn how you can solve that problem. So the first way we can do that is by we can ask students why are they leaving once they quit. So a simple exit form with your gym, which has to be a no pressure form that students can fill out explaining why they're currently leaving and why they want to leave, right? And you need to identify if this reason is occurring, such as hygiene issues or safety issues. If multiple people are coming to you with the exact reason, then clearly you have identified your problem, right? And we'll talk later on how to fix that problem. But first thing is we need to identify the problem. So second thing is we need to check in with current students regularly. So this could be asking those students, um, sorry, this is not waiting until the students are on their way out, but preemptively asking them if there's any issues that they need addressed. So this is essentially preventing the problem from happening instead of having a solution to the problem. If you have a one-on-one conversation with all your students, it not only shows them that you're a dedicated coach, but it makes them feel safe to talk to you, and it lets you know of any problems that are happening. Maybe they're getting bullied, maybe it's not safe, maybe one of your trainers aren't being nice, aren't explaining the class properly, aren't going over the curriculum properly. These are all reasons that students drop off. And you need to be actively observing classes to identify issues, right? So you need to sometimes be able to take a step back from your class, have other coaches run the class, and evaluate their performance from a coach's perspective. So do the beginners look tired? Do they not understand the advanced stuff? Are there any safety issues? You having this bird's eye view will be able to show you exactly where your coaching drops off and where your staff might need help. The second thing we're going to be talking about is we need to separate classes by skill levels. So you should have at least 2 to 3 separate classes for your beginners, your advanced, and then your people who are competing, right? You don't want your beginners to be doing the advanced work because, once again, beginners need to have a slow paced fundamental techniques, right? It needs to be friendly and a low pressure environment, introducing brand new strategies. You're not going to be throwing down arm bars with the beginners, right? You're going to be teaching them basic fundamentals, cardios, training, and you don't want to be submission heavy focused, right? But with your advanced group, that's when they're aiming for tournaments, they're aiming to compete, they're aiming to fight. Those are the people who you want to be drilling cardio, hard circuit type preparation for their obviously for their competition, right? So this separates the two, so that way your beginners aren't getting crushed by the elite guys in the gym, and the beginners are feeling safe, while the elite people are getting that training that they expect. So everyone gets a training that suits them best, and everyone is in their range of knowledge, so they stick around more longer. So the third point we're going to be talking about is we need to make our gym a welcoming community. So you need to ditch that drill sergeant approach. So remember, your students are paying to be here. They don't want to be scolded or humiliated, right? If a student's showing up late, show them respect. They've taken time out of their day to show up to your class, even if they're 10, 15 minutes late. You know, guys, stuff happens. People get late all the time. It's not a big deal. Don't punish them for being late. It's one of those magical things. If you're continuously punishing someone for showing up after they put the effort to drive 20, 30 minutes after working 8 hours, of course they're not going to want to stay at your gym because all they're getting is negative feedback, right? You also want to organize social events to strengthen the community, right? So this could be pizza parties, We do UFC events. We always get together to watch the UFC, boxing, especially for the kids. Pizza parties definitely works. And here's the bonus thing. If you organize pizza parties, you can tell their kids to invite their friends. And guess what? You have an abundance of free leads that are now coming to your gym. And you also want to have a personal connection with these students. So talk to them one-on-one. Ask them how their day is. Ask them how they're going. Remember, if a student feels connected and feels part of a community, it makes it 70% more harder for them to fall off, whether if they don't feel part of it. If their friends are training with them, if they're good friends with the coaches get along, the students get along, it essentially creates a community vibe. At the gym I train at, I'm friends with basically everyone there. We all get along. I talk to all the coaches, right? And this has allowed me to stay there for over 3+ years and continue to train every single day there without fail. The fourth thing you want to notice is you need to have a structured beginner program. So you want to implement foundation curriculum activities for new students, right? So no one wants to feel clueless on day one. So you need to map out basic moves, positions, and rules that can be implemented for every student. Not the beginners need to have a core understanding of what they're going to be learning, because remember, most of these students have zero idea, or they come into your gym, they just want to be they come into your gym for one of three reasons, right? They want to make friends, they're getting bullied, they want to learn to defend themselves, or they want to exercise. They're the main reasons that we typically see people into the gym. So having a once a month intro week where you explain core basics to new students will not only will decrease your churn, but will allow students to feel more involved and more part of a family, right? Having a mentor system that pairs newcomers on with higher belts such as blue belts or those purple belts, right, also helps massive amounts. This is because they have a dedicated person to roll them through, to show them roles, to show them what they're doing wrong, to show them proper techniques, right? That way they come out, they know they've learned something, they don't feel stupid because they have to continuously ask for the coach's help. Am I doing this right? This doesn't feel right. If they have someone watching over them, it dramatically increases how they feel safe and they feel like they belong to a community, right? It's a clear roadmap to keep them from feeling lost, and it keeps each member feel like they're learning and they're paying for something valuable. So the next point is we want to emphasize on safety and quality instructions, right? So hands-on coaching. You don't just want to do a demo then vanish. You want to walk around and make sure your students are drilling with correct technique, with correct pointers, right? It keeps not only everyone safe because it stops people from doing the wrong technique, but it shows you care, right? And that's ultimately why people stay. If you tell that your coaches care about their students and they want them to succeed, it goes a long way, because of the fact that, once again, we go back to that original topic of they feel like they've learned something, they feel involved, and they feel safe. They don't feel like they're getting bullied. They understand what they're learning. And when kids go home, they can explain this to their parents. They show them what they've learned. And now their parents also understands that the stuff that they're learning is very valuable. You also want to keep an eye on the mats. If it's starting to get too wild or too close to another group, you want to make sure there's adequate spacing in between it so no one gets hurt. So feeling unsafe or ignored is a huge reason why people quit. You need to be on top of these things to avoid people leaving your gym early and to avoid you losing massive amounts of revenue by these drop-offs. The last thing we want to talk about is we need to remember who pays the bill, right? So at the end of the day, most gyms rely on those white to blue belts for their revenue. Sure, advanced belts bring in that experience, but 90% of your members who are paying the bills are going to be the white belts, right? So you do want to make sure your classes are catered to them. This is why I highly recommend having a separate class for beginners and advanced. This allows you to create balance and have a strong competitive team, but you want to make sure that one doesn't overflow the other. Because at the end of the day, your competitor team is not going to be paying the bills. At max, gyms are going to have 5 to 10 competitors at one given stage, but you can have 150 white belts training at your gym, and they're the main people who are going to be paying your bills. So you need to cater to your core membership who keep the lights on, right? So if you lose that crowd, you lose your business. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you did learn something from this. I will be answering any comments in the comments section, of course. This is my obviously new type of videos where I'm just trying to record for 1 point straight without any pauses. If you have any feedback for me, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can reach me on my socials. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.